Welcome into 2 News at 4 o'clock on this Thursday afternoon, where we are following breaking news out of Utah County. On your screen is a live look from Utah Valley University, the site of a shooting of Charlie Kirk that happened yesterday, and the investigation is well underway.
Just a few hours ago, FBI investigators released these photos of a person of interest. The FBI offered a reward of up to $100,000 for information leading to the identification and arrest of the individual responsible for Kirk's murder. FBI leaders also say that they discovered a high-powered bolt-action rifle they say was used during the shooting.
Those 2 pictures have been floating around now for a couple hours. They are seemingly everywhere online. We have some new developments in this national investigation, which is our top story. Here on 2 News at 4 o'clock, I'm Jim Spiewak.
And I'm Jamie McGriff. Thanks for joining us. We begin this hour with in-depth team coverage. We have multiple live crews covering different angles of this story.
First, we're going to toss things over to Heidi Hatch and Brian Schnee, who are live on UVU's campus again today. So, is there a memorial there? What are you seeing today?
Well, where we're standing right now is just outside of the Hall of Flags, and just through these glass windows behind us is where the shooting occurred. Still fairly quiet on campus as it's locked down today. There's a lot more media here from all over the country and also around the world as well.
Crime scene take has been extended from where we were yesterday, but the scene behind us still being combed through by investigators, both on the ground by that tent area where Charlie Kirk was sitting and also on the rooftops as well. So very fluid situation here, as they shared in an update moments ago, that this is still a very ongoing and active and constantly changing investigation.
That's right. There's also a no-fly zone over the campus right now. I think a lot of other news outlets like our own were hoping to get our drones up in the air so we could get a better idea of the campus, how everything was laid out, where this shooter possibly was. And also the students. Many students dropped everything they had with them, laptops, keys, phones. So if they wanted to call their parents, they weren't able to, didn't have their keys to get back home again. So that is still a crime scene littered with things from thousands and thousands of people.
And that extended beyond the amphitheater area where this was taking place. We showed you those photos from earlier today that were shared with us from inside some of the classrooms, with desks turned over and chairs flipped over and backpacks left behind. So the extent of which this is being felt is far beyond the crime scene, the immediate crime scene that is behind us here on campus.
At this point, though, the entire world, the country, the state of Utah has the opportunity to help the FBI. The hope was early this morning after that news conference that maybe they knew who they were after. Brian, at this point, we have photos. They're not perfect, but someone should be able to know who this is.
We have photos. We don't have a name attached to those photos, and that is something that we've inquired about to see if they do have an identified person of interest. They're not calling this a suspect at this point,
yeah.
But as we learned yesterday, very fluid situation with a person of interest taken into custody, then released, another person of interest taken into custody, then released, and right now the most recent photos that we were able to share with you this morning, we believe are still the individual that they are after here that may have committed the crime.
We've both been talking to law enforcement officers that have been working around the clock, many of them not even going home to sleep tonight. Brian Malahy here on campus as well with the very latest on this investigation and where they're headed. Brian.
Yeah, we have photos of the person of interest. As you mentioned, a $100,000 reward for an arrest. The gun found after the killer ditched it in some nearby woods. Now, these photos, we've showed you them already, but it's worth another look. These released by the FBI and the Utah Department of Public Safety. Do you know who this person is, where he might be? Meantime, video to us now of a police search near homes just east of campus. Sophie Anderson rolled yesterday, gave us permission to use today.
And all of a sudden, one of the people in the home was like, oh my goodness, they're armed guards looking in the bushes.
Have you seen the pictures today of this guy that they're looking for?
Yes, yes.
And in the neighborhood later, you didn't see anybody who looked like this?
No.
Okay.
We didn't see anyone.
And now for the change of plans here today. A briefing from FBI and DPS happened early this morning. Then another was set for 12:45 this afternoon, but it was abruptly called off. We don't know why. Also, Orem officers were not asked to provide security for the Charlie Kirk event. I spoke to the Orem mayor today. I asked if they had been requested, what would the city have done, and what kind of expertise might the officers have lent yesterday during the chaos? More on that coming up at 5 o'clock. Also, a memorial growing here on the north side of UVU. Leslie Duarte continues our team coverage right now. She is live at the Air National Guard base. Leslie.
Brian, that's right. I'm here outside waiting for something to happen. What we know right now, around 2 o'clock, Vice President JD Vance arrived on Air Force 2 to meet with Charlie Kirk's family after the tragic incident yesterday. This is what this looks like right now. There are people gathering here to pay their respects to Charlie and his family. As far as what we've seen, no activity. We have not seen Air Force 2 take off. We have not seen any vehicles exit the airbase, but we are waiting here trying to get answers as to what is happening. We know that Vice President JD Vance posted on social media of his friendship with Charlie Kirk, calling him a true friend. So we know there was a close bond there. This is at where we are right now. People around here came since early this morning to try to get a view of Air Force 2, Vice President Vance, or Charlie and his family. As of right now, we've talked to some people who say they are heartbroken with this incident.
It means heartbreak. It really does. We're very touched by the tragedy, and everybody that wasn't a little child remembers 9/11, so that's why we're here.
Definitely a lot of people here remembering 9/11 as well, just adding to the heartbreak of this tragedy that took the life of Charlie Kirk. Reporting live in Salt Lake City from the Air Base, sending it back to the studio.
Leslie, thank you. And Brian, Heidi, all of you, thank you for the updates. Did you get this breaking news alert on your phone today? As soon as the Vice President landed, we sent this out. And to get breaking news alerts like this sent to your phone, you can download the 2 News mobile app.
Also want to report that in just the last few minutes, DPS has notified us that a man was arrested for allegedly sneaking into the crime scene that they're still working there on the campus of UVU to take pictures and video of the evidence. He's 38-year-old Russell Kim Kennington of Pleasant Grove, and he was arrested on suspicion of capital obstruction of justice. They're saying, DPS is saying that he was wearing a white lab coat, and he went through 2 different checkpoints of security tape, of crime scene security tape to get into that crime scene. So that is something that we just learned from DPS in just the last few minutes, where an arrest has made for someone breaching into the crime scene area that allegedly happened today. Now we want to give you a closer look at the area of the campus of where this happened. So this is a map of the area. As you can see, this was Charlie Kirk's position, and up above is where the reported location of the shooter is, on top of the roof of one of the buildings, giving him a height and a direct line to where Charlie was sitting. Let's go ahead and show you another map showing a little bit of a different angle, highlighting some of the buildings. You can see there are a lot of tall buildings around that quad area, including the Losi Center, where it's reported that suspected shooter was at the time. Now let's go ahead and give you a look at a timeline from yesterday. Charlie Kirk's event began in the courtyard around noontime. If we can... and then, going to the next slide here, he was shot at around 12:20 in the afternoon. Reports came into 911. They started getting calls around 12:20, 12:23. Then, well, this thing is not, thing's not working for me. Okay, so there we go. Now the first alert that UVU actually sent out to students came in at 12:48. That was more than 30 minutes after the shooting, or about 20-ish, 25 minutes or so. That alert also said that there was a suspect in custody. That suspect was later released. Then at about 4:20, the FBI Director Kash Patel, he reported that another person of interest was taken into custody. That person was also released by 6 p.m. And then there was a 7 p.m. vigil for Charlie Kirk, that was held inside the state rotunda capitol, or the state capitol rotunda. That was hosted by members of the Utah House of Representatives, where hundreds of Utahns and state leaders came to honor Kirk and speak out against political violence.
Charlie Kirk was a prominent conservative activist. He carried a strong political influence and rallied a significant number of young Republicans through his organization, Turning Point USA. Mark Cobell is joining us on the live desk with an overview of his short life. Mark.
Yeah, Jamie, Kirk used podcasts and campus tours to build his political movement and had a close and influential relationship with President Trump. Charlie Kirk burst onto the political scene back in 2012, launching Turning Point USA. He was just 18 years old with high hopes of boosting high school and college Republicans across the often liberal-leaning campuses. The organization gained traction with its signature upbeat events centered on Christian conservative ideals. The nonprofit now boasts more than 250,000 student members. At just 26 years of age, Kirk opened the 2020 Republican National Convention.
I see the angst of young people as well as the challenges facing new parents.
4 years later, he was a leading force behind Donald Trump's re-election campaign, holding rallies and events to drive a wave of conservative young men back to the voting polls. And while Kirk was a frequent visitor to the White House, he still embraced where he got his start, college campuses. While touring, he was known for debating liberal students, hitting open discussion for ideas on every campus that he visited.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. Reactions to the shooting death of conservative activists continues to pour in today.
As national correspondent Matt Gelke explains, members of Congress are paying tribute and questioning how to keep themselves safe.
Speaking at a 9/11 remembrance event at the Pentagon, the president started by addressing the shooting death of political activist Charlie Kirk.
I'm pleased to announce that I will soon be awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Kirk, whose conservative Turning Point USA organization has helped Republicans connect with young people, was close with a number of GOP members on Capitol Hill and in the White House.
People simply disagreed with him, not because he made laws, because they didn't agree with his point of view. And that was enough to assassinate him, regardless of Republican or Democrat, because both sides have added to the temperature of the political environment. It's time to reset and say, okay, guys, there's a better way to do this.
The rise in political violence has led members of Congress to question their own safety. House Speaker Mike Johnson says they're reviewing all of their options.
We've got to protect people who run for public office, or no one will. And that's heavy on our hearts and minds as we also, work through the trauma of what happened.
Vice President JD Vance posted a very personal message on X about his history and friendship with Kirk, before ending with, "You ran a good race, my friend. We've got it from here." Vance and his wife flew to Utah to visit with Kirk's family Thursday. The president blamed rhetoric from the left for what happened to Kirk, but the condemnation of his murder has been bipartisan.
This is a time that all Americans should come together and feel and mourn what happened. Violence, which affects so many different people of so many different political persuasions, is an affliction of America. And coming together is what we ought to be doing.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., while posting about Kirk's death, seemed to reference his own father, who was a victim of a political assassination, writing in part, "Once again, a bullet has silenced the most eloquent truth teller of an era." Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelke.
We want to know what you are thinking at home about this. You want to scan that QR code that you see right there on your screen. Gets you to our poll question of the day. Do you think political violence is a major threat to our democracy?